Hello YouTubers, this is Emda, and today I'll be reviewing this PSP game called Project Diva. It was a backlog from my rhythm game series playing in PSP, and I'm just gonna play it after 5 years of backlog. So, what is Project Diva? It is the first one in the series. I think there's four of this in PSP. It is created by Sega, published by Sega, and was released only on PSP in 2009. Then it was ported to PS3 in 2010, using a someone kind of connect to PSP and PS3, and then you're gonna use the PSP as a controller. The song collection in this first series consists from producers from Ryo, KZ, Oster, and the remaining songs are either from a collab project or from another producer with a -P tag. The gameplay of this game, it is a rhythm game. It has 36 playable songs with 2 DLCs that adds 27 but unplayable songs. They're only viewable on a PV. PV means promotional video. The gameplay is like Osu, but instead of having an indicator that gets smaller, the notes will be coming from the sides of the screen, anywhere from the screen. It's from the side, and you must press the corresponding button. When the colored shape hits the static gray shape that shows in the screen, the fly speed mainly depends on the BPM or tempo of the song, with some rare exceptions. You have 2 indicators that you can utilize to identify the correct timing to press the button. Either when the colored shape touches the gray shape on dead center, or you can use the hand timer arm to reach the top to determine the correct timing. I'd say it's a really unique gameplay feature because it's the first time that I saw the trick to be used in a rhythm game. 2 indicators to utilize the correct timing of the song. Foresighting or reading notes is that I mean by the spacing of the notes. For example here, half beats is indicated by the amount of space, this kind of space, and then quarter beats will have a distance, half the distance from half beats. There are only 4 buttons to be pressed in this game. For normal and easy, you only need to press circle and cross the X. And then if you're going hard, it will add 2 additional shapes, which is the square and rectangle. There are no hold notes in this game. The quality of the mapping is somewhat mediocre. It's a hit or miss, but more of miss. Some has okay mapping, but others doesn't really fit the song really well. It follows Miku's singing, and mostly not the beat of the song. But I guess that's to be expected since it is the first one in the series of the Project Diva. Also, it might be the effect that the majority of the songs in the game was new for me. But one thing's for sure, whenever the BPM goes over 180, the feel or the beat from this game becomes bad. The game also provides custom editing of your own song, and you can map it yourself. I think you also can customize the animation of the character on that editing. Even though I haven't tried it, putting a custom editor on the game is a really nice gesture for the developer. There are a lot of unlockables too. Most of the songs must be unlocked by clearing them on normal. You must clear them, not just play and not clear it. It will also unlock the hard version of the song as well. There are also unlockables pertaining costumes and the inside house designs, furnitures. As an avid Vocaloid listener, but not really a fan of Miku, I'm a weirded about this one feature called Miku's room, where you can customize her room and stare at her. The addition of the feature for me feels really forced and probably catered for Miku diehard fans. Overall, the game is packed with features as well good amount of unlockables to make you play the game for at least 4 plus hours to unlock all songs, and then probably 19 hours overall to beat all hard songs and the majority of the costumes and room unlocks. So for gameplay and quality of mapping score, I'm gonna give the game 6.7 out of 10. Let's go to graphics and performance. First, when you start the game, you'll notice this immediately. The game is running only at 30 frames per second. For a rhythm game standard, that translates to very bad. 60 frames per second doesn't even cut it sometimes, but it is much better than 30 frames per second for sure. I guess it has to deal with the full 3D animation backdrop while playing, so that's why they cap it at 30 frames per second. The graphics is not that bad though, considering that it is a PSP game. They are rendering the backdrop at full 3D, and the cutscenes really do fit the music. I mean the change of the scene. Oh yeah, or the angle of the camera. The character will appear the PV depending on who you chose in the module change. There are other unlockable characters apart from Miku, but for you to unlock characters, it is mostly you need to perfect a normal song, you need to make a high combo, or clear a hard song. So those are the hardest unlockables. The animation for the character while while they're dancing in the music is really excellent, since apparently the developers use motion capture for it. But overall, the PV is somewhat underwhelming. I could literally count all distinct objects with my fingers, and the video repeats pretty much on that same scene. Since it is only 30 frames per second, the hit detection is somewhat annoying. It works, but getting a full combo is very stressing. It is not fun. Add the mid-core mapping, some songs really don't play well. No? So, my verdict for graphic and performance score, I'm gonna give the game a 6.0 out of 10. For sound, for Vocaloid songs, my verdict will be very subjective since I'm an avid listener of the genre, but I do like it. The game includes 36 Vocaloid songs, more than half. I don't know, not much to say there, but gameplay wise, I only have one good and one bad criticism. I'll start with a good. Miko's voice cuts off if you start to miss a note. Her voice is not synced directly to the note, but it will just emulate it by cutting her voice when you miss a note. A very simple trick, but it's good. It's a start for them. The bad one, they have really bad choices on hit sounds. In some songs, it doesn't really fit. I think for some of those actually, I think it's much better if they just disable the hit sounds entirely, since the hit sound that they chose doesn't really fit. There's a tiny delay between a key press and a hit sound feedback. Most of the people won't notice it, but it's around 1 frame or of 30 frames per second. So there's a 33 millisecond delay for a key press and the sound feedback for you to notice. And it's making the gameplay unfun. So for the sound score, I'm gonna give this game a 7.7 out of 10. Lastly, my final verdict for this game is a decent start for Project Diva on PSP. It has a lot of potential, and we'll see the improvements on this game on the following iteration of the game. The gameplay looks fun when polished enough. Some songs are fun to play, but not everything is. Due to technical limitation like the 30 frames per second cap, the bad head sound feedback, bad head sound selection, media-core note mapping, doesn't really help those non-widely known Vocaloid songs. In fact, it makes those songs just worse. For this game, I'll give a ratio of 50-20 and 50-20-30, making the total score, final score, to 6.9 out of 10. That's it. Thank you for watching, guys, and bye bye.
やってきそう過去編憂鬱で着崩した制服机の上に書いた落書きどれもこれも僕らの証隠しの同時には伝えきれない思い出の数だけ涙がにじむなくて傷つけもした僕らは少しぐらい大人になれたのかな教室の窓から桜の雨浴びてのびら心に寄せたみんな集めてできた花束を空に放とう忘れないで今はまた小さな花びらだとしても僕らは一人じゃないいつかまた大きな花びらを咲かせ僕らはここで会よくできました。